Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar Turn Any Scan Frames into 3D Elements, a new perspective on 3D modeling. My name is Martin Huber and I am the CEO and co-founder of MetaRoom by Emrex. Today we are very excited to introduce our groundbreaking 3D modeling solution to you, which is revolutionizing the way we digitize and understand buildings.
Also, a warm welcome from my side. My name is Luca De Biasi and I'm the Chief Product Officer at MetaRoom by Emrex. I have today the pleasure to show you hands-on how we address the challenges of capturing 3D spaces for different industries.
Yeah, thank you, Luca, for joining today. And of course, also thank you out there for joining our session. Now, let's begin our webinar. I will start with a brief overview and then Luca will demonstrate our object segmentation technology live, using various 3D models and practical use cases. Get ready to see how you can easily transform scan frames into 3D elements. Spatial planning, as we know it today, is facing a lot of challenges. Currently, digital data is not available for around 80% of buildings worldwide. And 90% of all 3D plans are still created manually with tedious and time-consuming measurement and planning. Furthermore, professional equipment used for 3D scanning is very expensive, bulky, and requires specific training to use. And these challenges are just the tip of the iceberg. Now, how can we solve all of these pain points? Our solution, MetaRoom Scan App, enables you to scan buildings of all types and sizes extremely fast, instantly providing true-to-size 3D models with precise measurements. Just imagine scanning and digitizing entire buildings easily in one go with just your smartphone. This is the power of MetaRoom in your palm, making our customers 90% more time efficient than today's methods. By the way, if you have an iPhone Pro or iPad Pro, you can download the MetaRoom app using the QR code shown on the slide. After completing your scan, you can continue using our MetaRoom Studio. Its intuitive interface offers powerful AI-assisted tools allowing you to optimize your 3D model, add custom elements, and get detailed information and KPIs about your scan space. It's fast, accurate, and incredibly simple to use. Now, enough of the theory. Let's hand it over to Luca and check out what he has prepared for us today.
Thank you very much, Martin. I am glad to present to you our AI-assisted 3D object creation. So let's just jump into a project. For the first one, we chose a very simple room where you can see different points of interest, which are shown by those markers. The frame interaction tool that we want to present opens up if you click on any of those points of interest. In this sidebar on the right side, you can see that the 2D frame for this point of interest has been loaded. And if you hover over the 2D frame, you can see that the mouse cursor changes into this pencil. With a simple click, you can perform a segmentation within this 2D frame, and the object will appear in the 3D view next to it. In this case, the luminous area of this lamp has been selected. You can extend the selection area by pressing the Shift key, and add more selection points. In this case, to extend the area. After we have finish the selection, we can enter a name for the object, for example, lamp, and select an associated IFC type. We offer a selection of 63 industry standard types in the BIM context, and in this case, we select the light fixture type. After you have entered all the details, you can either save or reset the 3D element. In this case, I reset it because it's already here. When you click on an element, you can also see the properties again here on the left side. And you can also see that the element has been added to the scene. If you wish, you can also add some notes to the element. For example, that it's a square light. So as you can see, we already prepared here 4 of those objects. So for every point of interest, we already prepared the corresponding 3D objects. And now I would like to show you how you can use those objects in further workflows. In this example, light planning workflow. So we open the Relux export by going to the export symbol and selecting Relux Desktop as our target. Then for the Relux export, we need to select in the 3D scene what we would like to export, in this case, the whole scene, and trigger the export. It has been successfully started. And we can just use this link here to go to the export history. And after a few seconds, the export should be completed. On this page, you can also download older export files again, if you wish so. Now we have downloaded the scene, and we can open it in Relux export, in Relux Desktop, sorry. We can see that MetaRoom provides a Relux Desktop project file with the ending RDF. And as we see here, through our validated interface, we obtain the same 3D model as visible in MetaRoom Studio, also with our 4 light fixtures. You can also see here on the left side that they have been recognized as luminaires by Relux Desktop. And now we are going to replace them with a real product. In this case, I changed the type for all 4 light fixtures to the same one to speed up the workflow. And we go on to replace this exact luminaire type with a real product. In this case, let's pick Tulux. As we can see, they have a vast number of products available. We will look for a similar one as we have here in our office. I think this one should fit. And after clicking the replace button, all our lamps, you see they have almost the same size, have been replaced by real products. And with this, we can now start a calculation within Relux Desktop. So in a matter of 2 minutes, we were able to add luminaires to the scene where they really are or where they have been scanned, replace them with real products, and perform a calculation to obtain the light or illumination simulation for this room. So now we will continue with a different room, which shows more use cases, more interesting use cases where we can use our frame interaction tool. In this case, we see a hotel room consisting of multiple rooms, which has been scanned using our multi-room feature. As you can see here, compared to the previous scene, we don't have any points of interest. But in this case, as I mentioned previously, you can also trigger the frame interaction tool by selecting a scan frame, which you can show by clicking this icon. This icon shows the scan path, which is indicated by a sequence of dots ranging from dark, which show the beginning, to light, which show the end of the scan path. In this case, we are going to select the scan frame in order to reconstruct this beam, which is missing in the scene. So you can use our frame interaction tool to reconstruct geometry with very few clicks. In this case, we know that the beam extends over this whole area. So we just move it, scale it, adjust it a little bit, and basically we're done. We can add this 3D element again, give it a name, select the beam, IFC type, and save it into the scene. All the elements until now have been created using the create box option within the frame interaction. So boxes should be used for square or cuboid 3D elements where the whole extent in 3D is relevant in your workflow. We also offer a different shape that you can create, namely surfaces. The workflow is the same, and the difference is that surfaces allow you to also reconstruct more complex objects. If we look at this column, it's a Roman style column, and you can see that with a simple click, you can reconstruct it in all its complexity, as you can see in the 3D preview here. Again, we are just going to save it as a column and include it into the scene. As next example, I would like to show you that also other types of objects like this flat air duct can be easily added to the scene. Just by clicking on it, again, we get a polygon which represents this object, and it can be added again to the scene. Here also we use the air, in this case, the air terminal IFC type. So you might have guessed already that this room is probably not in Austria. As you can see here at the bottom left, we also, with our scans, capture north exposition and also the GPS location of this place. In this case, the scan was performed in northern Italy at the Lago di Garda. These informations are also contained in our exports and can be used, for example, in Relux desktop for light planning or IFC for BIM-related workflows. So let's go to the last example. In this case, we have a multi-room office. It's actually our office here in Salzburg, to show you more examples of how the frame interaction works. Here we have a single point of interest that was set basically in the middle of the room to mark an object that has not been captured automatically during scan. If we click on it, we also see what this object was. It was a column basically. And in this case, I use the create box feature because I want to capture the column in its whole 3D extent. So I click on it from this side and get a perfect segmentation. This is where the related frames come into play. Namely, they give you different perspectives on this specific object, which are drawn from all the scan frames that were captured. In this case, for the box mode, I can select the object from different perspectives. And as I do this, you see that the extent grows in all dimensions. And I can represent objects by the real 3D extent. Again, I'm going to select the column IFC type and name the object round column. And also here, I can see in the model tree that the round column was added. And if I wish, I can also take a note here, which says this is actually a round column. This information can be used in different exports and different continuations of the workflow to further enhance the semantics, for example, of the objects. Here we have another point of interest, which was set on this wall, which contains 3 different elements that we would like to add to the scene. On one hand, a thermostat, again with one click. So another feature that we have is, which you might have already noticed, this zoom in function. So if you have very small objects that you would like to select, you can use the zoom in function in order to capture them more detailed. Then we zoom out again and add this thermostat to the scene with the class controller or IFC type controller. Same with the light switch, where we select the type switching device. So as you can see, this is a drop-down menu which can also be searched by typing in parts of the type name. But obviously you can also go through the list itself to have a look what types of what IFC types we offer. And the last element here on this wall is the power socket or power outlet, which is also easily created with one click. If you have a look at the 3D view here, you can see that all those objects have been precisely placed on the corresponding wall where they are really located. We have a very powerful tool here that enables you to, or that enables everyone that uses Metaroom Studio to enhance and augment the scan in order for his needs. For example, in a facility management use case, you might be interested in smoke detectors. Again, here you see a point of interest where the smoke detector has been marked during scan. And afterwards in Metaroom Studio, with a simple click, I can add the element again. Even here in challenging lighting conditions, the segmentation works flawlessly. Again, we select the corresponding IFC type for smoke detectors, which is sensor, and save the element, which is another element that is important for facility management use cases, are exit signs. Here we have an example, and again, with one click, you have it in your scan or in your model. I have showed you now a lot of examples using points of interest, but also in this scan, we can activate the scan path to find even more objects of interest. For example, here on the texture that we provide for the room, we can see that there is a radiator on the wall. So we just select a suitable scan frame. In this case, when I hover over the scan frame, you can see the directions that the scan frame is pointing at. So I can select a suitable one. And here, with a simple click again, we can add the radiator. So it's very easy to use and very intuitive. In this case, we have a space heater type. So for convenience, we included, so in the list of IFC types, we included 5 classes at the top that might be helpful in what we guess a lot of use cases. All other types are ordered alphabetically. Now you might ask, or a lot of you might ask, is this object that I would like to add possible to add, or is another object possible to add? Short answer is yes. You can add really any object you like. I can show you another example here. I need to find a good scan frame. Here in the corner, we have this pot plant. So really an arbitrary object. And again, with 2 clicks, we can add it to the 3D model. And you can see it here on top of this shelf that was also recognized automatically during our scan. So now that we have added a lot of elements and we have talked a lot about IFC types for them, let's perform an IFC export in order to demonstrate that all those properties that we added to the elements in MetaRoom Studio will also end up in our IFC export. In this case, we went back to the export history after triggering the export, and after a few seconds, the export will appear. In this case, we selected the IFC 2x3 format, but we offer also a lot of other 3D and BIM formats to export. So have a look at the export list or at our documentation on the website to see what MetaRoom is able to process. Again, we download the file now and open it. In this case, we use DDS Cut Viewer to show you the content of the IFC file that we just now exported. You can see here in the exported file that we also have the ceiling. We will just hide this for now so we can have a better look at the 3D model. In this export, you also see these spheres, which represent the points of interest that were taken by the user which performed the scan. We will also switch them off just for convenience. I just click on one, exactly. You can see them, they are all grouped here under this IFC building element proxy type. So we can easily switch them off. And you can already see that all the objects that we added now also show up in this IFC file and in this IFC viewer. And if we have a look at the column, we can also see here that the name that we selected for that we set for the object is also present in the IFC data. If we look at the detailed properties of the object, we can also see that the user node that we added to this element is contained in the IFC data. So here we have very powerful means of transporting information, basically from scan to the target application, in this case, DDS viewer. So this brings me to the end of the live demonstration, and we will go on with the Q&A session now.
Wow, thank you, Luca, for showing all of this stuff to us here today. A very brand new feature for MetaRoom Studio, allowing now to go deeper into the vertical needs of our solution and basically has close to no limitations when it comes to objects. As Luca mentioned, we are very happy now to get into the Q&A session. We have a couple of questions that already had been sent to us before this webinar today, and also I've seen there are questions here in the chat already. So maybe the first question, Luca, when should I use a box and when should I use a surface? You have seen these two elements when you click on a 2D picture.
Yes. So for now, we offer boxes and surfaces as elements that you can add to the scene. Boxes should be used for larger elements where the whole 3D extent is important, such as we saw in the examples, columns, also larger pieces of furniture, for example. Surfaces, on the other hand, allow to capture more complex shapes due to their polygon nature. So you should use the surface tool, in order to, for example, capture additional geometry for objects or flat objects that are recessed in ceiling or walls, for example.
Thanks a lot. We have another question here about the import to Dialux. You have shown us today a case that exported to Relux desktop format. We also have a compatibility to Dialux using the IFC2X3 format. This was the one Luca used for the second case in the multi-room. And in this case, there is only one thing you have to do inside Dialux. It's called the IFC spaces. So you have a big scan with different rooms. Then using the IFC2X3, you need to draw again the IFC spaces to separate the rooms according to the different usages. And but basically the compatibility and geometry and also transporting the converted points of interest, as Luca showed before, is also already possible. So yeah, that's also a very good question. We've seen that we are kind of gathering a bounding box around the points. Maybe you can take us a little bit into the future vision of this feature that maybe also allows to capture more customized shapes.
Yes, exactly. So this is just a start. So we focused first on like implementing the whole workflow with simple shapes like boxes and surfaces, but obviously this can be extended. Due to our very unique technology of combining 2D and 3D information, we have the possibility to capture points in 3D space and also create more complex structures out of them. So future looks bright.
So we will soon see real plants in MetaRoom Studio with all the leaves, huh? Okay, so if you transport this using IFC, I'm not quite sure. Do we transport bounding boxes to IFC or already the 3D models?
It's really the 3D model in terms of a meshed box. So it's not just a bounding box, but it's really a box that we transport. Same for the surfaces.
So if you identify a chair automatically using MetaRoom Scan and you go to MetaRoom Studio and export IFC2X3, will it be then a chair mesh model or is it a bounding box?
It's a chair mesh model then.
Okay, also for IFC, right?
Also for IFC, yes.
Okay, so this should basically work. Okay, so maybe we elaborate again a little bit on the points of interest. So there is this question was headed before, is POI, the point of interest you pick manually? And now we also have seen this automatically generated scan points. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about why we have two different concepts on this.
It's not really two different concepts. Basically, they're all just the same scan frames. the advantage of taking points of interest is that you, on one hand, get a marker in the 3D scene. So you find the position which you marked more easily and faster. And the second point is that taking a point of interest also allows you to, during scan time, decide what you want to add or what you think is important for your 3D model afterwards. So you have basically an easier way of creating the objects and faster way, speed up for creating the objects afterwards in MetaRoom Studio.
Got it. Also, we got a question prior to the session today. It was a very short one. How much does this cost? So actually, MetaRoom is free for 30 days. So you can download the app for free. You can also use it 30 days for free. And then you can pick between different subscription models starting around 79 euros per month. And it's going up to 140 euros a month, depending on the export models. There is also a possibility to do it monthly. So you can also do it for a period of time. And of course, there is also kind of a yearly model that then is lower in price. So this should also be covered here. Yeah, let's take a look at the other question here. If we import the IFC in Dialux EU, can it recognize positioning and height? Yeah. So actually, this is something that does not work today. So the workflow using IFC to Dialux today looks like this. You can generate the boxes, as Luca mentioned before, in the geometry, for example, in the ceiling. And then you can transport this to Dialux using the boxes, but it's only geometry. So you keep the geometry coming from MetaRoom Studio. You take a new luminaire and you move it to the position, and then you delete the geometry that was coming from MetaRoom Studio. We do know this is not perfect, so expect improvements in future. And yeah, we hope for now this is at least a small workaround to get these things done. So no more questions in the chat. Maybe Luca, you want to add something?
Yeah, how is future development regarding this feature? Can you give us like some, we got the question, how is the future going to look like for this feature? Like, is this already as it is, or are you planning some improvements for it?
Yeah, I think the major improvement we are looking at is to automate this even more. As you have seen in the presentation from Luca today, you have to click on every single object. So clearly this can get quite work intense if you have large space. So if you do this for 100 times, then yeah, this takes some time. The future concept will be that you just pick 1, 2, or 3 luminaires, and you have a button giving you all of the other luminaires that are looking similar to our AI. So basically, we will improve the grade of automation, and in future, you will just click on one element, maybe 2, and the AI will find all of the other elements automatically for you and generate boxes for you. So this will increase the efficiency working with these new tools we have seen today by another level.
Exactly. And like here, it also shows that our hybrid solution, so between edge computing on the mobile device, which already is able to recognize some objects automatically, in conjunction with our cloud-based AI reconstruction, gives us a lot of possibilities here, also to extend the usability of the features that we present. So this is, as mentioned, just the beginning, and yeah, we are looking forward to extend this feature more.
Exactly. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining in today. It was a very nice session with all of you. I think that we got a good picture about the new feature that allows us to generate basically all kind of objects now in MetaRoom Studio. Yeah, help us together digitizing the interior world with MetaRoom. Thanks for joining.
Thank you also very much from my side. Thanks for the attention. And yeah, let's go out, try it out. If you have any problems, questions, suggestions for improvements, just let us know. We're always eager to fulfill your needs.
We're here for you. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.